Hello and welcome to your lecture on Learning Outcome 5 and 6. In this lesson, your objectives are to work out percentages of amounts, to be able to express one amount as a percentage of another, and calculate percentage change of any size increase and decrease and the original value after the percentage change. Okay, so let's get started. So percentages are part of 100, okay? This is the percentage sign. When we say percentages are part of 100, it means we basically split that amount into 100 pieces and then find however many we need. The examples below show different methods for working out percentages of quantities. You'll need to be able to use a calculator and a non-calculator method. So if we're looking at 30% of 80 kilograms, you can do this on a calculator, either by, so I'm going to show you two ways of doing this on a calculator. You can do 30 divided by 100 because 30% means 30 out of 100. And then times it by 80. If you do that on your calculator, you've got 30 divided by 100, and that actually gives you 0.3. You'll then times 0.3 by 80, giving you 24 kilograms. Now, you might already know that the decimal version of 30% is 0.3. If you do, you don't have to do this part. You can just do 0.3 times 80 and it will still give you 24. Okay, so done. Now, if you didn't have a calculator, it would be easier to work out, smaller percentages of that amount first. So, for example, you could work out 10% of 80. 10% of a number is really easy. We just divide it by 10. Okay, I'm going to write that there. Divide by 10, which equals 8. So if 10% equals 8, then 30% must be 8 times 3. Okay, because 10% is 8. So 3 lots of that gives us 30%, and 3 eighths are 24. Okay, so you've worked that out without a calculator. Let's have a look at another one. Work out 15% of 290. Okay, so again, we could use a calculator for this, and we could say 15% means 15 divided by 100, and then we'd times it by 290. 15 out of 100, or 15 divided by 100, is 15 divided by 100 equals 0.15. Again, you might know that it's 0.15 because I would suggest that you get into the habit of turning percentages into decimals. It's very easy to do. 15% is 0.15. 20% is 0.2. If it helps you, you can put the 0 on the end. 34% equals 0.34, and so on. Okay, so if we do 0.15, because we've done 15 divided by 100, gives us 0.15. We then times that by 290 to give us the percentage. To give us the amount. And 15% of 290 is £43.50. Okay, because it was in pounds, wasn't it? Now, on your calculator, it'd actually come up as 43.5. So if it was in kilograms or anything else, we'd just leave it like that. But because it's in pounds, we would say £43.50. Okay. Without a calculator, what we'd have to do is we would find 10% of 290 first. So don't forget, 10% of 290, we just divide by 10, which means we get rid of the 0. So that's 29. That's 10%. Now I need 15% in total, which means I'm now going to need 5%. Okay, so 5% of 290 is just half of this value. Because if 10% is 29, then 5% must be half of it, and that gives us 14.5. Okay, then all I have to do is add them together because 10 and 5 make 15. So if I add those together, again without a calculator, remember. So I've got 5 here, so just put that there. Put my decimal point in. Don't forget as well, if you've got 14.5, you must write it like where the decimal point is after the whole number. So 29 needs to go above the 14. So if it helps, put 0.0 on the end of the whole number. 9 plus 4 is 13. And 2 plus 1 is 3, plus this one here is 4. So we get the same answer, 43.5, or in this case, £43.50. Okay, all right, one more then. Work out 23% of 4,900 kilograms. So 23% then, with a calculator, we could do 23 divided by 100 times by 4,900. And we could type all of that into our calculator to give us our answer. Or we could recognise that we should know that 23% is written as 0.23. So we can just do 0.23 times 4,900. And if we do that on our calculator, we end up with 1,127. So our actual answer is 1,127 kilograms. Now then, without a calculator now, we have to do this in a different way. First of all, we need 23% in total. I'm going to work out 10% first. 10% of 4,900, we can just divide by 10, which means we take off the 0, giving us 490. That means that 20% must be double that, okay? If 10% is 490, 20% is 2 lots of it. So 20% of 4,900 would be that times by 2, giving us 980. Right, so we've got the 20% out of the 23. I now need to work out the 3%. So what I'm actually going to do is find 1% of 4,900. And to find 1% of any number, we just divide by 100, because percent means out of 100. If I divide by 100, it means I take off both zeros, which gives me 49. I need 3 of these, because I need 3%. Okay, 3% of 4,900 would be 49 times 3. Now, because this is the non-calculator method, I'm going to have to do that in like long multiplication form. Okay, so I'm going to do 9 times 3, which is 27. Put 7 there and I carry the 2. And then 4 times 3 is 12, plus the 2 is 14. So that is 147. So 3% of 4,900 is 147. So now I don't need this anymore, and I don't need this anymore. All I need is the 20% and the 3%. And I need to add them together. So just if you're not confident with multiplying, by the way, just go back to that video that we did and practice. So what I'm going to do now is, because I want 23, I'm going to add the 20 and the 3 together. The 20% is 980 and the 3 is 147. 0 add 7 is 7. 8 plus 4 is 12, so I put the 2 there and carry the 1. 9 plus 1 is 10, plus this one here is 11. So again, we get exactly the same answer, 1,127 kilograms. Okay, lovely. Right, so now we've looked at working out some percentages of amounts. Why don't we now look at increasing and decreasing by a value? Okay, so you'll need to be able to find the value of quantities after a percentage increase or a percentage decrease. This is also a very useful skill for everyday life. So here's an example, and it says that a tablet costs £165. In a sale, it is reduced by 15%. Work out the cost of the tablet in the sale. Now, both of these methods are going to involve a calculator method, so don't panic too much. However, the basics of this is it's saying that it first cost £165, then there was a 15% discount. So what you've got to do is find 15% of this and then subtract, because it's a discount, okay? So method 1 is using a similar method to what we've just been using. So it says that we've got 15% off. So I need to find 15% of £165. So remember, we could do 15 divided by 100 times by 165. Or we could recognise that 15% is written as 0.15 and times that by 165. If we do that, it gives us a value of £24.75. Now, that's not our answer, that's our decrease. So the last thing we need to do is 165 take away £24.75, leaving us with a total of £140.25 in the sale. Okay? Done. Now, what we're doing here is we're using the 15% as the multiplier in order to find out how much they got off, how much was taken off the price. Okay, but in the second method, we're going to use a different multiplier. Now, what we can say is that 15% has been discounted. So I want to actually find out, instead of having to work out how much 15% is and then taking it off, I want to just work out this amount straight away. And the way I do that is I take 100% and I subtract 15 from it, giving me 85%, which means I only want 85% of the price. Okay? So instead, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my 165 and I'm going to times it by 0.85, because I need to recognise that as a multiplier, 85% is 0.85. And if I put that in my calculator, I end up with £140.25 straight away. I don't have to work out 15% and then take it away. If this method 1 is better for you and you understand it, then continue using it. However, you will have to use a multiplier with different questions like this, so it would be good to practice this. Okay? All right, let's move on. So here's another question. Louisa works out the cost of her gas bill. At the start of a 3-month period, the gas meter reading was 12,447 units. At the end of the 3-month period, the gas meter reading was 12,721. Okay, for a start, I can't spell. Okay, so meter, not meter. Okay. Each unit of gas used costs 47p. VAT is charged at 5%. Work out the total cost of Louisa's gas bill. So what we're doing here is 2 things. We've got to work out how much it cost for the gas in general, and then we've got to increase the price by 5% because they add on VAT. Okay, going back to the question really quickly, it says that before she used the gas, it said 12,447 units. And after she'd used the gas after 3 months, it was 12,721 units. So we need to work out how many units she used. So we're going to do 12,721 take away 12,447. Again, you can do this on your calculator. If you do this, it's 274 units used. Okay, lovely. Now, we then need to work out how much she paid for the gas on its own. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my 274 units that she used and I'm going to times it by 47 pence. Now, it must recognise that 47 pence is written as 0.47 in pounds. If you multiplied, if I just write this down over here, if you did 274 times 47, it's fine, but you would have got an answer of 12,878. You would have had to divide that by 100 to put it into pounds, because there's 100 pence in a pound, giving you 128.78 pounds. You just can't miss that bit. Whereas if you do it by 0.47 straight away, knowing that it's £0 and 47 pence, on your calculator straight away you will get £128 and 78 pence. Okay? Now that's how much she paid without VAT. Without VAT. What we need to do now is we need to find, either we need to find 5% of this and add it on because VAT is an increase, or we can use a multiplier. Now, when we did decrease, we found that we needed to take our 100% and subtract the 15 from it to give us a multiplier of 85%, which as a decimal was 0.85. Okay, that's because we were decreasing. We needed less. It was less than 100%. Now we are increasing. Okay, so our VAT is 5%. That means I want to know how much I am going to pay, or how much Louisa is going to pay, okay, including this 5%. So her gas bill on its own is 100% of the price, and the VAT, we're adding on another 5%. So instead of taking away like we did here when we were reducing something, we're adding it on, giving us 105%. Now, 105% as a multiplier, as a decimal, is 1.05. So to work out the total gas bill, including VAT, what we would do is we would do £128.78 times by 1.05. And that will give us £135.22. Now, personally, I think that's easier than finding 5% of this amount here, the £128.78, and adding it on. Because instead, what we're doing is, instead of finding 5%, which meant that, change my colour, which meant that I would have had to do 128.78 times 0.05, or 5 out of 100 times £128.78, which is the same thing. Okay, and then adding it on. Instead of doing that, I've realised that I need my 100%, I need to know my money, plus my 5%. And to turn any number into a multiplier, whether it's 105 or 85, we just divide it by 100. We just move the decimal point 2 places back. Okay, which is why the decimal point ends up there. Okay, so 85% again, move 2 places back, which is why it ends up there. Okay. So again, you could find the percentage and add it on, or find the percentage and take it off if that's easier for you, or you can use these multipliers. Right, so let's move on to one quantity as a percentage of another. Now then, when you are asked to compare different quantities, it is useful to write each quantity as a percentage. To express one quantity as a percentage of another, divide the first quantity by the second quantity, and then just multiply it by 100. Really simple. So there is, capital T, 3.6 grams of fat in a pint of semi-skimmed milk. 2.2 grams of the fat is saturated. What percentage of the fat is saturated? So if we look at the description, we divide the first quantity by the second quantity and then multiply by 100. So what we do is we take our amount that is saturated, 2.2, and we divide it by the total, okay? So although this is a good description, the total must go on the bottom, because if you put it on the top, it will give you the wrong answer. So the total must go on the bottom. So it's saying what percentage of the fat is saturated. Well, it's 2.2 out of 3.6 in total. And then we just times that by 100. So what you would actually do is 2.2 divided by 3.6, okay, which actually gives you 0.6111111. And then you times it by 100, giving you 61.1, and you just put a little dot above the 1 to show that it's recurring. And we write the percentage. And that's it. That's all you have to do for writing one quantity as a percentage of another. Let's look at one more example of that. Matthew got 46 out of 75 in his science test and 65% in his maths test. Which test did he score better on? Okay, well, if you want to have a go at this, press pause, have a go, and then press play and I'll go through it. Okay, if you've done that, well, maths, he got 65%. Okay, fine. Science, he got 46 out of a total of 75. Remember, we put the total on the bottom. This means now, to work out what that is as a percentage, we do 46 divided by 75, and then we times by 100. So 46 divided by 75 is actually 0.61333. Okay, and if we times that by 100, it would give us 61.3 with a little dot above the 3 to show that it goes on and on. Okay, so in science, he got 61.3%, and in maths, he got 65%. He scored better on his maths test, but only by a little bit. Okay, brilliant. So like I say, not too bad with one quantity as a percentage of another. What about percentage change then? Sometimes you're asked to calculate a percentage profit or percentage loss, percentage increase or percentage decrease. This is referred to as percentage change. So when we write down a percentage change, basically what it is, it's just the change as a percentage, the difference. So it's the difference written as a percentage. So you always have to find the difference first before you write anything as a percentage. So what you need is, you need to find the difference, which is the change. Then you write that over the original amount or divided by the original amount, and then you times by 100 again. So here's an example. Rich bought a flat for £185,000. He sold it 3 years later for £242,000. What is his percentage profit? Okay, well, the first thing we need to know is the change. So the difference. So we need to do 242,000, take away 185,000. Okay. Now that gives us £57,000. That's the change. So looking at our example, our explanation up here, we write the change and we write it over the original amount. The original amount that we started with was 185,000. Don't get confused, it's not this bigger amount here. It's always the original, whether it's smaller or bigger than this. It's just the original amount. Okay, if we divided those, if we did 57,000 divided by 185,000, it gives us 0.308. Okay, and then what we do is we times that by 100, giving us 30.8%. I'm going to round that to 3 significant figures because there was more numbers here. Okay, so all you have to do is find the difference and then we write it over the original amount, and that line is classed as divide. So we divide them, and then once we've got our answer, we times it by 100 to give it to us as a percentage. Right, let's look at this example. Why don't you pause the video and have a go at this one, and then press play for the explanation. Okay. Jackie bought a car for £12,500 and sold it 2 years later for £7,250. So she's made a loss. Work out her percentage loss. So again, the first thing we need to know is the change. So the change is 12,500 minus 7,250. If you did that, it would give you £5,250. What we're then going to do is just put it into our formula here. So the change is 5,250 divided by the original amount, which is 12,500, and then we'll times that by 100. So if we do 5,250 and we divide it by 12,500, that gives us 0.42. And then if we times that by 100, it will give us 42%. So that's it. She's made a loss of 42%. Okay, one more example. Again, pause the video and have a go, and then we will move on. Okay, if you've had a go at that. It says that Varia sold a necklace on an internet auction site for £225. She originally paid £65 for the necklace. What was her percentage profit to the nearest 1%? Okay, so for this one, remember we need to know the change. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to do the £225 that she sold it for, and we're going to take away 65. That gives us a profit of £160. Okay, that's how much profit she made in pounds. We want to know what it is as a percentage. Remember, we always put the change, which is 160, over the original. The original amount she paid was 65. She actually sold it for 225. So can you see there, the top number's bigger than the bottom? Doesn't matter. It's going to be because it's profit. Okay, so we are then going to times that by 100. So if we did 160 divided by 65, that gives us 2.46. Okay, if we times that by 100, it's 246%. Because there were extra numbers here, but I've rounded it to the nearest 1%. Now, it says 246%. You might be thinking, but percentages are out of 100. It means that basically she's doubled her money, well, more than doubled her money. If she'd only made 100% profit, then it means that she'd made all of her money back. But she's made 246% profit. So she's doubled, if not further, her money, 150% more than what she paid for it. Okay? So we're now going to look at some reverse percentage problems. In reverse percentage problems, you are asked to find the value of the original quantity when given the amount after a percentage increase or decrease. You need to start by working out what percentage of the original amount the quantity you are given represents. I'll explain what that means. So here's a question. The price of a television is reduced by 15% in a sale to £352.75. What was the original price? So, what it's saying here is that is not 100% of the price. £352.75 actually represents 100% take away 15% of the price, giving us 85%. So £352.75 is actually equal to 85% of the price. Okay, so it's not 100%. We don't know what 100% of the price was, but they've had a decrease. Once they've decreased it, it's £352.75. So what we need to do is, we need to work out what the original price was. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to work out 1%. In order to work out 1%, I will divide by 85. So I'm going to take my £352.75, and I'm going to divide it by 85. If I divide it by 85, it gives me 4.15. Okay, so that means that 1% was £4.15. To get my 100% now, I'm just going to times that by 100. If I times that by 100, it gives me £415. Okay, so the original price was £415. Now you can check that if you want to, because you can say, well, what's 15% of 415? Okay, so I can do 0.15 times 415. Now, if I did that, 0.15 times 415, it gives me £62.25. And because that was the reduction, I would do 415 take away £62.25, and it would give me £352.75, which is the price we got in the question. Okay, but this is the main thing you need to remember. You need to divide by the percentage that, the discounted percentage, and then times by 100. Remember, it's not this amount. We're not finding 15% of £352.75. We're saying that this is the price after the reduction, and we've got to work out how much the price was originally. Right, let's do another one. A mobile phone bill is £169.20, including tax at 20%. What is the cost of the bill without the tax? Okay, so the tax has already been added on in this case. All right, so what it's saying is that £169.20 includes the 20%. So £169.20 represents 120% of the price. Okay. What was the cost of the bill without the tax? Okay, so what I need to do here is I need to divide by 120 to give me 1%. Okay, so divide by 120. Now, if I do that, if I take my £169.20 and I divide by 120, it gives me £1.41. And now all I need to do is times it by 100 to get 100%. If I times it by 100%, it gives me £141. Okay? And that's it. That's all you have to do. You just need to remember that if it's a decrease, we do 100 take away the percentage decrease. And if it's an increase, we do 100 plus the percentage increase. Okay? That's when we're doing reverse percentage problems. Okay? Right, one more then. Why don't you pause the video and have a go at this one? and press play for the answer. Okay. A tablet costs £60 after a 15% reduction. Joseph says that the original price of the tablet was £70.59. Is Joseph correct? So, this is a reduction question. So that means that £60 is equivalent to 85% of the price, because 100 take away 15 is 85. Okay? So we would divide by 85 to give us 1%. Because I've only got 85 pieces, I want one of them. All right. If I do that, it gives me 0.7059. Okay. So then all I need to do is times by 100 to give me 100%. If I times that by 100, it gives me £70.59. So yes, Joseph was correct. Yes, Joseph was correct. Now, if you actually put that into your calculator, you might have got 0.7058882353. I just rounded this to 7059 because I know that when I times it by 100, I only need 2 decimal places, £70.59. So don't worry, it's still the same. Okay? Okay, so hopefully now you feel confident working out percentages of amounts, expressing one amount as a percentage of another, calculating percentage change such as increase and decrease, as well as working out the original value after the percentage change, meaning reverse percentages. Okay then, so good luck with your assignment based on these outcomes, and I look forward to seeing how you do.